That was also really helpful. You just I've got everything here. I can type pretty fast, so I was able to take notes during.
In today's Jumpstart session, from one of our live public coaching calls, we meet a creative who is really struggling with procrastination. So much so that he's lost jobs and opportunities and money. I help him look at procrastination in a different way so that he can see what drains him and what excites him, what he should delete and what he should delegate. And through this perspective shift, it helps give him clarity about what to do to move forward. So let's rock and roll.
Essentially, that whole thing of I just hadn't done stuff, procrastination has been a giant block of problem in my life, including like I was in an 18-wheeler accident and I procrastinated so long on turning in the papers that I lost out on $9,000 that I could have gotten from the insurance, and lost out on a semester abroad program in LA because I missed the week of the deadline, and then just never started a business. Had to take the first job that I found. It was $750. I waited too long on a couple of projects in there and got fired. Ended up back at the same job that I had in high school, working at Chick-fil-A, which I love, but no. And so but as far as like my vision for how my post-college life would be, working at Chick-fil-A was not what I thought it was.
Sure.
And about that time was when I was like, you know what, film production, let's go. And so only really like this year, as of like February, have I had work regular enough to where my initial priorities, I would have said, yes, I can go full time now because look at how much business I have coming in.
Sure.
So like, for me, like, these past 2 months have been like, what? Like, like my,
oh my God, this is amazing. And then you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen in August? Will I make anything?
Right. Cause like July has nothing booked.
Yeah, sure.
For me, like I'm still trying to get a hold on my procrastination tendency. I'm pretty open about that just because I know that it is like probably one of my bigger weaknesses.
Sure.
That I come face to face with most days.
Sure. I am a firm believer that, procrastination comes in a lot of forms, but one hardcore form is the fact that we're procrastinating on things that we just really don't want to do, things that we're capable and maybe even competent, but it doesn't mean, as you were saying, we were talking about beforehand, it doesn't mean that you love those things. And something that, I'm really hardcore on, which you mentioned from, the audiobook, the MIA audiobook, I wanted to ask you, and this is something just getting right to it, that is a question I love to ask people. If we could do a magic wand and you didn't need money, your family's not going to need money, you don't need money, and you don't have to worry about that you're getting abundance or not an abundance. And if you get abundance, what do you do with that abundance? Are you being responsible or these things? The question is, would you be filming? What would you be filming? Would you be editing? Like, again, we don't have to worry about whether what you're shooting or what you're editing is generating any capital or any money at this moment. It's just it's a byproduct of, do you love shooting? Do you love editing? Do you love, I put in here, the selling, like talking, like what of those aspects do you love the most? And when we get clarity on that, there's power in clarity. The more clear you are, the faster you'll move. Probably heard me say that before, but it's like when we're foggy, when we're vague, and I've experienced this, I've experienced crystal clear clarity, and I see what happens. And boy, when I'm foggy, like it's procrastination, it's avoidance, it's not getting things done. I don't feel productive. I'm just kind of doing things that are very busy work. It's like talk about like a rocking chair. It's just like, you're just moving back and forth. You're moving, but you're not moving anywhere. Like you're just staying in one place and you're not going anywhere. And so there's definitely a drive for the economics, for the money. And that probably comes from things from past. Maybe you didn't have as much, maybe you lost it, maybe your family, whatever it was. And maybe friends, family, peers condition you to believe creativity, like filmmaking, like video, like, is there really money there? Like, are you really, you're doing the best to make, what you really could with your potential and these things. And, I'll tell you one quick story. I had a guy that I was friends with for a long time. He started filming weddings when he was 13. His whole family was like doctors and lawyers and things. And he didn't go to college. And some of the family members said, that's a bad decision. You need to send him to college. And one of them was one that did a couple $100,000 a year, as a lawyer or whatnot. And a couple years into his business, they apologized because he was generating more money as a wedding videographer than they were. So the potential is there. It's just the distractions again will send us off all these rabbit holes. But I always think when it comes to business, where you'll win the most is where you're able to go the deepest. And because, I had people contacting me for weddings 6 years after they initially met me and found me at a wedding. They were single. They weren't dating anybody. And in their mind, they're like, when I get married, he's my guy. And I literally would get messages going, I saw you at such and such's wedding. I'm like, that was a long time ago. I knew that you were going to be the person, and they hired me. But if I wasn't in weddings, and that's why we switch directions so often, because something's not moving fast enough. We live in this instant gratification world.
Editing is probably the place where I procrastinate the most out of everything that I do.
Yep.
There's a level of slog that I don't enjoy about it. Not be editing, and I can be like cold calling, or if I can be shooting more.
Shooting. I mean, you had a 9, I think, on the shooting. So it's like, or 10 on shooting. I mean, you really and based on how you are, you love getting out there. Maybe not as much always with the people part, but you love being out there and being able to move. I mean, you're energized by movement, not by sitting in front of the computer for 12 hours. You're going to be like, jump off a cliff. Whereas for me, talking, if my whole life revolves around talking, I'm the happiest human on earth. I mean, I need some time to recharge, don't get me wrong. And I like to be alone at times, go for walks and bike rides. But as a whole, I love to talk. So if I get an email, my inclination is to pick up the phone and talk to them or meet them or something. Whereas a lot of my opposite personality is like, I'm going to do everything in my power to never have to talk to them if I can. And so it's figuring that out and recognizing you'll have more money, you'll have more time, you'll have more fun, you'll procrastinate less if you start to let people who love, and you can still end up with the same, like my biggest breakthrough was thinking my clients won't be happy if I'm not the one. If they know I didn't edit the video, they won't be happy. And it won't be as good. And, we say all these things. What I found is people who love editing do a far better job at editing than I do. I'm capable and competent, but at the end of the day, there's people who are just as capable and competent, but also passionate, love it, and would much rather be doing it.
One of the things is just that when it comes to the stuff on, I'm procrastinating on the editing, and I know that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it's just that, I'll sit there and I say, well, I'm editing this today. And then I just don't end up even doing much of that. I guess just where, and you pointed out that usually the reason for procrastination was that these are the things that you don't like doing, or the things that, you could probably delegate and get to the things that you really love doing and work on, producing more and stuff like that. I guess just where do you find, when it comes to that, where is it just where you actually just need to work on your character and become better at not procrastinating on the dang stuff? And where is it that you can focus on, let's get this to where it's doing what I love and delegating the stuff that I don't?
Well, I think there's positive and negative resistance at times. So, I mean, people get through it, suck it up, keep your mouth shut, just do it, build that character, keep quiet, you're so blessed and lucky that I get that. But also there's that whole cliche Einstein, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll think it's stupid its whole life because it can't climb a tree. You don't take, these are stupid scenarios to a degree, but you don't take a head of lettuce and use it as a hammer to hammer nails.
Right.
You get a hammer. And so how we're wired from a personality behavioral standpoint is like that. Sometimes we are the fish trying to climb a tree. So you could have people say, suck it up. You can do it eventually. You're going to get through it. Just get through it. Just push through it. But I find that the reality of that is that why would you not just get in the water? Why would you just not pick up a hammer? Why would you cut down a tree with a butter knife, right? You don't have to do these things. So there can be more efficient ways. And I get to the gut instinct and starting to trust that more. And what I mean by that is there are things that we're not good at. What I'm doing right now, the lives you've seen me do, all that, I think you've maybe seen, tell me if you haven't, but I share it a lot in it, but the video of my little transformation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I didn't want to be in front of the camera. I was petrified to talk in front of 5 people, those networking meetings where you stand up and you have 90 seconds to like tell people what you do and who you are and whatever. I hated that. I would go to the bathroom sometimes to avoid that happening and come back out when I knew that time was done. And so, but some things happened and I really started to like this. And so I practiced and I got better and I got better and I got more confident. But I genuinely wanted to get better at it. And I think from coaching, mentoring, and people that don't even know us and whatever, it's very easy. We see others as we are, not as they are typically. So if I'm an extremely introverted person and I hate talking on the phone, and yet I have a successful business somehow, but I built it a different way, and somebody super extroverted is talking to me to look for advice, then I might be better suited as the extrovert person to want to pick up the phone and meet people and go talk. Whereas that person's like, no. And they'll give you this whole other strategy that is the opposite of what would be better congruent with you, because they don't like talking on the phone. One person's blessing is another's curse. So I believe when somebody tells one to do something, you have to go, what resonates? And so what's right for you? What do you feel best about? If it's something that you know you're not good at right now, but you genuinely want to get better at it, you genuinely want to do it. So if you genuinely like, I want to be the most excellent editor there is, I really love editing, but I know I'm not good at it right now. Well, then you might not be confident, but I would argue probably you still don't necessarily hyper procrastinate on it. You'll do it, but you might not be great at it right now. But if you don't really, like if you didn't have to, if the magic wand could happen again and you had some great editors and they made phenomenal edits and you were just out meeting people and shooting and doing that and you brought it back and you knew the edit would be amazing from somebody else and you could direct it, if that is something that lights you up, then that's what you want to lean towards. But if it's like, man, I would suck if I don't get to edit. Like, I freaking love editing. Like, I just had a guy get a job with a Netflix documentary as an editor, and he's so pumped. And for years, he was trying to be that opposite. He was trying to sell the job, negotiate, shoot the job, and then he would get to edit. And when I talk to him, I always am like, the same question, what would you do? And he's like, man, in perfect world, I'd just get to edit. I'm like, okay. And it took him like 4.5 years to own that. Now, that doesn't mean he's never going to shoot. He does like picking up the camera from time to time on his own little documentaries and things. But in the big picture, a perfect world for him is editing. And so that everybody's different. So I don't think that something that we're a fish and we don't want to do it, and it's natural that we know, like, if somebody else could, I'd be fine with that. Then there's no sucking it up, character building, pushing through it and doing that. That's where you're just wasting enormous amounts of energy, time, effort. You're probably not as happy. You might become subpar on it eventually. And others would tell you. And again, I always come from the place of what resonates. I'm not here to tell people to do one thing or the other. I don't care whether you want to edit or not. That doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't have an ego. I've interact with people whose egos are so big, like, I want you to take my advice. You need to be an editor, Michael. It's like, no, I don't care what you do. I'm hearing what you're saying, and I want to reflect it back and get you to hopefully really own the possibility of the fact that you don't really love editing. You can still create phenomenal edits from the things you shoot by somebody else who's able to do that. And now, instead of you procrastinating for 2 months to do something, you get that too. Like yesterday, I dropped off my footage that we had from this travel con in Boston last week. I would have never sat down and edited it. My editor, he said, give me till Tuesday. He's really, really good. He'll probably have me something by Saturday or Sunday, Monday at the latest. And it'll be great. I'll send it to the client. Client may or may not give any feedback, and then we're done. And I get to keep staying in the zone. And what I'm doing, my business, I hate email, I hate details, organization. So all those things, one could argue, suck it up, learn, get better. But I procrastinate endlessly. Taxes, these things, QuickBooks, why don't you just do it yourself? You're able, I'm not stupid, but I will endlessly procrastinate on those things. Those documents you had to fill out, all that paperwork you had to fill out, you're like, is there any way this could be done without me having to do it? And then you finally ended up going, oh crap, guess I waited a little bit too long, and why fight that when either some things, now let me caveat that by one iota, some things sometimes are almost impossible to have done by somebody else. That's the one, right? You might have had that thing for your paperwork, for your accident and that stuff. Like, I don't know how to tell you to necessarily obviously delegate that off, but there's a lot in business, and that's where I tell people, if you're glazed over by some of these conversations and the vision creating and well, that tells you maybe you're just a shooter. And you're like, man, I just love running around with my camera and getting beautiful footage. I don't want to have to create this vision with people and sell them on the idea and you go meet them and do all that. I just want to shoot. There's people like my buddy Ryan who hire shooters and editors on every single project, and he needs them. They get paid decently, and they get to just like, he used to do that with me. He'd be like, hey, Gabbs, you available on Monday? Like today, maybe. He could go, hey, you available on Monday? I'm like, yeah, I'm available. He goes, all right, be at my house at 9 o'clock. I go to his house. He drives me to the location. I shoot all day. We're done at 5. He put his card in my camera. I'm done. So sometimes that is even better money than the $5,000 he got. So I get $500 to $800 him locally. I do a special thing. And, but that money on certain levels, although it's not the $5,000, it literally only took me the 6 to 8 hours. He still had 4 production meetings, 30 emails, phone calls, back and forth with the editor, all this stuff. So like on certain levels, I made more per hour than he might on that whole project. And then he had the editing costs, he had some things. So now that 5 gets down to $3,000, and he had to spend 10x the time that it took me. So if I just want to edit, then now selling, because from a marketing standpoint, the more clear you are on what you do well, and who you do it for, the more clear marketing becomes. Because if you do things for everybody with a pulse, then you don't really know what to do or who to talk to or what meetings to go to or who to call. You're doing a little bit of everything. And when you get the clarity, like if that guy just wants to edit, then he knows he finds people. He only has to sell them once or find relationships. And then once he gets that person, they love him as an editor. He's not having to keep creating visions of the edit and all these things. He just gets the hard drive. He gets the Dropbox folder. He just gets to edit.
No, yeah, I guess for me, just like, that idea that you were saying, like with the dark and the light, and like just off of like the exact current moment, that thing of like, yeah, if you could shoot and then someone could edit it and you liked it, that sounds like a magical land that doesn't exist.
There you go.
So I guess
I got an editor for you, a couple.
Oh yeah. So that, yeah, but really, yeah. So that kind of sounds more like where I'm sitting, especially that depth thing that you were saying, like that's.
Oh, the going deeper on something versus shallow on a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah. That was also really helpful. You just I've got everything here. I can type pretty fast, so I was able to take notes during.
If you'd like the opportunity to be coached like this, click the link in the description to attend a future Jumpstart session, or click here to watch the next breakthrough happen.